What's up guys, this is Luis Joel, and it's been a while since I last released a video, but I'm back again with some smoked beef dino ribs that I make in the Masterbuilt electric smoker. Like always, these recipes are easy to follow along at home, so you too can make these in your backyard. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm going to start off with these beef dino ribs that I bought from my local butcher shop. They're not a cheap option, I'll tell you that. At $100, they're definitely not easy to come by. But they're so worth it once you make them, and they come out so juicy and delicious. First, I'm going to start by taking them out of the cryo bag. I'm going to take a nice sharp knife, and I'm just going to clean up all the fat and silver skin on the top layer of the meat, just to expose the meat. It doesn't have to be perfect, we're just trying to get all that silver skin because that stuff just gets chewy in the final product. And this is how you want them to look after you take all the silver skin out. As you can see, these beef ribs have a lot of marbling, so you know this thing's going to be juicy. I'm going to start by seasoning this thing with some Morton's Tender Quick. This is optional. This stuff is just to get a nice smoke ring on the beef ribs. The Masterbuilt electric smoker doesn't produce a smoke ring, so I just do this to kind of cheat. But if you don't care about a smoke ring, then you don't have to do this. I'm going to put this in a foil pan now, so that way when I season it, I don't get a ton of seasoning everywhere. And I'm doing Meat Church's Holy Gospel. I'm going to do a nice light application of that. And because I want a little bit more pepper, I'm going to put some coarse ground black pepper on top. And that's how you want your beef ribs to look. We're going to be smoking with these Jack Daniel's Whiskey Barrel wood chips. I'm just going to fill up the wood tray with the wood chips. And I'm going to set the smoker to about 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Once we got some smoke going, I'm going to go ahead and load up the beef ribs. I'm going to put it in the middle rack. It doesn't matter where you put it in the smoker. I'm just going to direct the thicker side towards the heat source. I'm going to let these beef ribs rock for 4 hours before I check on them again. One quick tip I like to do with the Masterbuilt electric smoker is I like to leave the chip loader sticking out of the opening to allow a little bit more airflow to pass through the smoker without igniting the chips on fire. I just think it creates better bark in the end, and I leave the vent completely open. I'm going to make myself a simple spritz with 50-50 apple cider vinegar and water. Just going to fill up a spray bottle so I can spray the ribs later. Alright, after about 4 hours, we're going to take a look at the ribs. As you can see, they're starting to get nice and mahogany, and bark is starting to form. I'm just going to go ahead and spray the dry parts of the ribs. We're going to let this rock out for another about hour and a half. And while we wait, I'm going to go ahead and take some beef tallow. I'm going to put it in a little foil pan, and I'm going to stick it in the smoker just to get some smoked beef tallow ready. This beef tallow is going to go in with the ribs when we go to wrap later. Just going to go ahead and temp these ribs, and they're temping at about 177. I'm going to pull these ribs off of the smoker, and I'm going to get them ready to wrap. As you can see, they build plenty of bark. I'm going to wrap these ribs in 2 sheets of pink butcher paper, and I'm just going to drizzle that smoked beef tallow we prepared earlier on top of them. We do this for 2 reasons. 1, to retain moisture, and 2, to add more smoke flavor from the tallow. We're going to go ahead and wrap that up nice and tight like a Christmas present. Make sure it doesn't drip too much. We're going to put that back in the smoker, and we're going to leave it in for another hour and a half. Alright guys, after about 7 hours of total cooking time, we're going to go ahead and check these for tenderness. And what you want to do is take a probe thermometer, and you want to stick it in between the bones, and if it slides in like butter, then you know these are done. These are pretty tender, so I'm going to go ahead and take them out, and I'm going to let them rest in a cooler for about an hour and a half before we cut into them. Alright guys, after all your hard work, you're going to be rewarded with these beautiful smoked dino ribs. Any remaining tallow from the wrap, you can go ahead and drizzle that on top of the ribs. And when you go to cut the ribs, you want to make sure you go in between the bones, just because if you hit the bone, it's going to make the cut very uneven. As you can see, the bark is nice and dark. When it comes to the Masterbuilt electric smoker, airflow is so key to getting that great bark. A lot of the time, because there's so much steam building up in the smoker, it can prevent the bark from forming. So that's why I like to leave the chip loader sticking out to create just a little more airflow, so you can get that beautiful color in the end product. Well guys, there you have it. Smoked Dino ribs made in the Masterbuilt electric smoker. These ribs came out so juicy, so tender, smoky, a little bit savory from that Meat Church Holy Gospel, and a little peppery from the extra pepper that I added on top. If you guys like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.